Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, April 7th, 2022. I'm Keith Tebow. Former Mayor Jasiel Correia has been granted another delay to report to federal prison. Is it his last? EMTs in Fall River and Westport will be involved in checking in on the elderly and disabled. And dozens of city residents are seeking help in paying their rent. All that and more coming up. Former Fall River Mayor Jasiel Correia has lost his bid for a stay of sentence pending appeal on his federal fraud and extortion convictions. U.S. District Court Judge Douglas Woodlock this week ruled against Correia's motion, but did allow another delay to report to federal prison in New Hampshire to April 22nd.
By right, the defendant has the ability to appeal that denial. And that appeal goes to the First Circuit Court of Appeals. And Judge Woodlock has set deadlines, but as he said in his order, those deadlines really are up to the First Circuit Court of Appeals, not him. So Judge Woodlock, what he did was he said, okay, the deadline, and if I've got this right, it's April 22nd at noon. That's when the defendant is to report to jail. And he said in his order that he feels that gives enough time for the defense and the prosecution to go through the appeal process with regard to this one single issue of the motion to stay pending appeal.
Attorney Saber says it's possible the appeals court may grant further delays on Correia to report to prison as it decides on the permanent stay. Meanwhile, last week, Correia's attorneys filed its brief on their appeal of the federal convictions.
They're asking for the acquittal on all charges, that the First Circuit Court of Appeal direct that the defendant be acquitted of all charges, or in the alternative, that he be granted a new trial. And it could be, they could do a little of both. They could order an acquittal on certain charges because the evidence wasn't sufficient to prove beyond a reasonable doubt certain charges, or they could order a new trial on the remaining charges. So they're really asking for both.
So when can we expect a decision on the appeal? Attorney Saber says likely no time soon.
The next thing is the government has, usually it's 30 days to file their brief in response to the defense. Now, whether or not the government's going to ask for an enlargement of time as well, if they do, it's probably going to be allowed because the First Circuit Court of Appeal allowed numerous extensions for the defense. So in fairness, they'd allow the government to do it. I'm hopeful that the government will understand that, people want to have this case move forward. So they may not ask for an enlargement of time. They may be able to file their brief in a timely fashion, but they probably have been working on it, but you wouldn't finalize it until you saw what the other side was saying. The next step after that is oral argument, because the cases are going to, the overall appeal is not going to be decided just on the papers. There's going to be an oral argument at the First Circuit Court of Appeals in front of a panel of 3 judges, and then they're going to write an opinion, and that's not going to happen the next day. That's going to take time as well after that. So we're looking at a minimum of, to me, at least 3 months before you'd get a decision in this case, and it could be longer.
The City of Fall River's Emergency Medical Services Division has received a grant through Bristol Elder Services to provide home and health assessment checks for the city's disabled and those ages 65 and over. The town of Westport is also collaborating on the program called Fall River Westport Cares. Fall River Fire Department EMS Lieutenant Nicholas Silva says the program, which is free of charge, provides residents with information and help they may not otherwise seek.
I think that there's a lot of services out there, and I think that people either just don't know about them or maybe they're afraid to ask. I think that a lot of the problems with the elderly is that they're afraid to ask because they don't want to leave their home. That's why, again, they don't report falls, they don't report feeling ill sometimes, and they wait till the last possible second to go to the hospital in fear that they may not return home. So this program hopefully brings them information to their home, gets them hooked up with some of these services and some of these programs like Bristol Elders to get the information that they need to stay healthy and stay home.
Residents or loved ones can contact Fall River EMS at 508-324-2744 to schedule the home safety check visit, which lasts a little over an hour. When EMS personnel arrive, they begin with an inspection of the resident's home.
Before we walk in, we do a full outside assessment of the house, make sure that the walkway is clear, free of debris, make sure that the steps are all in good condition, the handrails for the outside, if they have any, are all in good condition. We make sure that all the windows shut properly, make sure that there's no broken windows, make sure that the roof looks, semi-intact, that there's no holes in the roof or anything like that. Basically just do an outside general assessment. Once we come in, we go right through, make sure that all the outlet plugs are safe, and if they're using a GFI outlet, that they're using it properly. We make recommendations if they're not. We also make sure that all the throw rugs and carpeting is either double-sided taped or removed to prevent tripping hazards. And basically we go through almost every home in the house, and we look for over 120 different things to make sure that they're safe in their home.
Residents will also undergo a basic health screening. Lieutenant Silva says if possible, trusted family members or friends should be on hand for the wellness check.
We do a quick set of vitals just to get a snapshot of their overall health. We also go through their medication list. We do a medication reconciliation form, make sure that they're taking their medications properly. We do a med count if they allow us to make sure that their meds are taken properly at the right time. If they have questions about their medications, we try to get them answers and information. And if there's still questions, we actually try to reach out to their primary care physician and ask them to clarify why they're taking this medication and what the medication actually does. We'd actually prefer family members to call and to be there with their loved ones, so that way when we do provide the information, there's just more people to kind of hammer the idea home and make sure that the information that we're providing is understood and followed through with.
Sandra Frechette of Bristol Elder Services says her agency is proud to support the home safety checks and connect residents with other services to allow them to continue to live independent lives.
With the wellness check, as well as the other services that this program is offering, Bristol it's in line with what Bristol's goals and priorities are. They basically want to help people to age in place, to stay home, and be safe while doing so. And this program is going to help align that with our needs and what we're looking for to keep people safe at home. If the client's not safe or if they're disheveled, they may not be able to bathe themselves. There's things that we can help with them with, shopping, providing meals, cooking the meals for them, and it also helps the families. The families are work, and it's very hard for the families to get out there and complete a lot of this care also, so we can set up services in the home. And they don't have to be on Mass Health to receive those services.
Dozens of city residents who have had trouble paying rent as a result of the pandemic or other economic hardships sought financial help at a housing assistance fair held yesterday at Government Center. Mayor Paul Coogan last summer dedicated $1.5 million in federal CARES Act funding to help residents behind on rental payments get back on track. The program is being organized and administered by Catholic Social Services, which is screening applicants seeking financial support. Even though the money has been available since last summer, legal circumstances have delayed the distribution of funds.
What we were seeing during the pandemic was, we had the initial eviction moratoriums that put a hold on freezing people from being evicted. And as those eviction moratoriums were extended, it kind of put a hold on the funds that we were available to spend. So now the eviction moratoriums have expired, and we're kind of like 2 years into the pandemic, we're seeing the need in the community still with rental arrears, people that have become homeless. They vacated their apartments prematurely during the eviction moratorium because they didn't know that they didn't have to vacate. So what we're trying to do is we have these funds, we want to utilize them within the community, so that's why we're here today. We see and hear these calls come in every day. So this turnout to me, it's not shocking. There's days that we may receive 10 calls, we may receive 1. So this really isn't shocking to me. I see a few faces in here that I do recognize that they've already called and sought out assistance, and maybe they didn't qualify at the time, and maybe now they do. So for me, my understanding is this is a good turnout. If they're in need, I'm happy that they're here. I'd rather them be here than not come.
The city's community development agency is also helping to inform residents about the availability of rental assistance. Executive Director Michael Dion says the program can help renters pay for up to 6 months of back rent.
It's short-term and medium-term. Short-term being 3 months, medium-term being 6 months. So usually around, it all depends on what you're paying in rent. So if you're paying, if you got rental arrearage of, $6,000-7,000, we're able to cover it. We need some paperwork from the landlord showing, rent receipts and maybe a rent log showing that you are past due. But it's basically how much you owe, how much you're in arrearage. And then sometimes we'll also help with rent going forward. And like I said, that's usually 3 to 6 months. So you could end up out of the whole thing if you had rental arrearage of, say, $5,000 and 6 months worth of rent at $1,000, $1,500 a month, around there. You could end up getting around $10,000.
Dion says the rental assistance program comes at a time of widespread community need, where both renters and landlords are looking for a resolution.
A lot of people who were hurt during this pandemic were not bad tenants. They were people that just lost a job, had reduced hours, children who could no longer go to school, so they had to stay home and quit their job. So we have a lot of landlords that really like their tenants and want to work on their behalf to straighten this bad situation out and make it into a good situation. Those landlords don't want to evict their tenants. There are some bad tenants that happen to be they want to evict them, but in this whole time frame that I've been involved in it, I've been wowed because you're right. The landlords really feel for their tenants, and they're willing to work. I mean, they're willing to forego some rent to keep them in there.
Even though the city's funding on rental assistance is related to the pandemic, Catholic Social Services also has programs for renters facing other financial challenges.
People can still continue to call coordinated entry with the Fall River coordinated entry. It's 774-520-2555. We encourage people to call. If there's a need, please call. Don't question whether you qualify or not. Let us determine that. We're the experts in what we do. Let us see. There might be a different program that you qualify for. Catholic Social Services has many different programs. There's many other service providers in the area. If we cannot help you with one of our programs, we can provide the referral that another service provider may be able to help.
The city of Fall River is in line to receive over $1.2 million from the state to help with police and fire department staffing. The award was announced by State Senator Michael Rodrigues, and Mayor Paul Coogan says this money and other grants help supplement paying for the work of providing essential services to city residents.
Those grants that you're talking about, I believe, are almost 100% used for overtime for our police and fire, for fill-ins, for situations where we need more people in work. All the grants, we try to do our best to use them as a support to the traditional city budget. Do we offset money in the budget? Absolutely sometimes, but at the same time, we're looking forward on long term where we may be able to pick up some savings or some reductions and help the city. It's really, really interesting because of what the country went through with ARPA. For example, when the state, take that back, when the federal government freed up the restrictions on lost revenue and gave us that additional $10 million in lost revenue, that's almost like an additional stabilization fund. We have our one that we've worked to build to $7 million. We have our free cash, whatever that is. I think it's 1.5. Now we have the lost revenue. So these things are all in place to support us and do things in the city of Fall River that are necessary to keep it running like it should.
Time now for our weekly COVID-19 update. Here are the latest infection numbers and vaccination rates in Fall River as of last Thursday, March 31st. 48 new cases of the virus were reported, up from 43 the week prior. 29,594 cases of COVID have been recorded in Fall River since the onset of the pandemic. Vaccination rates remain flat, 70% of city residents having received at least one dose and 62% now fully vaccinated. Only 26% of city residents have received the COVID vaccine booster. There are still ample opportunities to get the COVID-19 vaccine free by visiting frvax.com or by calling 833-8VAX-NOW. That's 833-882-9669. The state also has a webpage at vaxfinder.mass.gov. You can also dial 211. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Accounting Assistant, Family Service Association, located at 583 Bedford Street, seeks a full-time accounting assistant to process monthly contract billing, prepare and maintain monthly contract analysis reports, and assist with external audit preparation and request. Job number 165-52444. Career Specialist, Bristol County Training Consortium, located at 1 Government Center, is looking for a full-time career specialist to guide and assist customers in determining their interests and abilities, such as aptitude assessments, interviews, and planning materials. Job number 165-37197. Production Brake Person, Gold Medal Bakery, located at 21 Penn Street, is looking for a full-time production brake person, responsible for replacing production employees throughout the department as assigned by supervision for periods of time to allow for breaks and absences. Job number 165-40410. Associate Team Leader, H&R Block, located at 4171 North Main Street, is looking for a full-time Associate Team Leader. For more information, call 508-675-0700. The Fall River Public School Department, located at 417 Rock Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Special Education Substitute Teacher, job number 165-48007. ESL Middle School Teacher, job number 165-51445. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The Fall River Public Library has announced that it's changing its hours of operation. As of this week, the library on North Main Street is open Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The change comes off the result of a patron survey where many expressed a desire to access the library earlier in the morning. There is still time to donate to the United Way of Greater Fall River's annual giving campaign. Meg Rogers of the United Way says the organization is close to meeting its goal, and she remains impressed by the support of donors both large and small.
Our goal for this fiscal year was $1.15 million, and we are 94% of the way there. So we have some business campaigns that are still rolling in, but we are looking still for donations from individuals or families or, people who are looking for birthday fundraisers to do. Folks can go on our website, uwgfr/give, and they can make a direct donation right through there. It's amazing and it's very powerful. We have campaigns where there's folks who give 50 cents a week through their workplace campaign donation, and it's great because they know that they can give that amount and it rolls into this giant pot of funds that get directed right back out to the community. We say a lot that every dollar counts, and every dollar really truly does. We know it's hard, we know giving is challenging at this time, but if you want your money to make an impact and stay here local in Greater Fall River, there's no better place to donate than United Way of Greater Fall River.
Even though the campaign has not ended, the United Way has begun accepting applications for its annual impact grants.
These are smaller grants. They're open to 501c3 nonprofits in our service area. So that's Asonet, Fall River, Somerset, Swansea, Westport, Little Compton, and Asonet. You have to be a 501c3 nonprofit, but those are for programs that have a direct impact on the community's health, education, financial stability, basic needs. We are focusing this year a little bit more closely on equity work, so capacity building, highlighting communities of color that might not have received focus before or who are looking to start up a new project. And they're up to $10,000, so it could be something small that someone needs some seed money to begin, or a little bit bigger of a program.
The deadline to apply for the impact grants is May 1st, with awards announced at the end of May and money distributed on July 1st. You can find out more and apply at uwgfr.org/impact-grants. Later this year, the United Way will be preparing to fund other community activities.
In the fall, we set out a food grant call, and that's for food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters that run food programs for their clients. That's usually about September to November. I think we did November this year. And those open up as well on our website. Folks can go there to learn more. And those are to support, additional purchases, whether that's food that's not provided by like Greater Boston Food Bank, or if they need. Sometimes we've had folks ask if they can use the funds for a refrigeration unit, or they want to buy toiletries or diapers, things that cost extra money beyond what's usually free from those food banks. And then happening really soon is our big allocation process. Those are with those traditional community partners, and they fund much larger programs. That's not an open process this year. Last year we did open for new partners, and we're kind of seeing where things go. This year, it's the same folks who we funded last year. Some are applying for some new programs, and it's really exciting to see some of those partners really think about what the needs of the community are and how they can have a bigger impact and really sort of meet those needs this year.
We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
Hi, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Miss Tina here. Tina, she is a puppy. She's only 18 weeks old now. As far as her breed, she is a mixed breed. We're thinking hound because she's got some big old ears here. Maybe something else like lab in there. She has come up here from actually Puerto Rico. Did come with a number of her other siblings. She's definitely the most timid of the group. She is a very nice girl, especially when it comes to other dogs. She absolutely, it's a whole different personality with other dogs. So if you have one at home, that she can play with, and you're looking to add to your family, so to speak, that might be a very good option. She does very much like attention from people. She does soak it up. She's just a little out of her element right now. She is a puppy, so you'll want to make sure that it's a home where you have the time to give her the attention she needs. She's going to need a lot of training and socialization. And if you'd like to meet Miss Tina here, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter. Today we have Dale. Dale here, he's a 7-year-old, short hair, all black except for a couple hairs right here, right in his very chest. You might not even be able to see them on the camera. Dale here, he's a male, currently not neutered, but he will be neutered before he leaves. He is a very outgoing cat. He is 7, so he's past his super playful, time. Though he still gets, his spurts of energy. As you can see, he is a very fine cat, very nice cat, would integrate into many homes very easily. I would definitely say he would be good with kids. Like I said, he's been very tolerant, hasn't been fazed by anything, and he likes his attention. He's very good about being picked up. He very much likes that, especially if you're giving him attention while you do it. So if you'd like to meet Dale, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website at frmedia.org for all the latest news and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.